Okay, cool.
There we go. And then I can always, I'll edit out this part. Actually, I'll leave this part in, so it'll just be you and me talking.
Okay, a little podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Here.
Do you want me to put the dice on now?
Would
Would you like me to put the dice on now? The dice on pad?
Oh, yes, thank you. I'm like, what? We'd like me to put the dice on out. Why?
That's true.
Yeah, oh, no, that's cool. I mean, we try to, I just don't know if it's going to work. Right. Well, what we need is we provide every church. And that means, have raised that issue. About the fact that the incense smells is harmful and the studies on certain stuff that can't be possible. But anyway, okay, we don't have to have it all there. And then when you raise this, I know there's smoke with incense out there, so let me see if I can get some too. So I looked it up, I ordered some. I tried it out during the week. It's, so I'm just not sure, if it's as advertised, but you let me know what happens.
Very kind of you, even throwing that in people in the streets here. Thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. No problem. Thank you, Kathy. How you doing? No, you can just keep over this week. Well, I'm just saying, you can just keep it. Keep it.
Adam, can you just close the door behind you there? Thanks.
Dan, can you please light the incense with Sensei this morning?
Sure. I'll do it wrong, but I'll try.
Please rise. Should I close the door? Sure.
Leave the door open for now, because I'm trying this new smokeless incense. I want to see how it works.
Okay,
You can store it.
okay. Morning, Gatha. Waking up this morning, I smile. 24 brand new hours are before me. I vow to live fully present in every moment and look upon all beings with eyes of compassion. Gatha of Atonement. All evil karma ever created by me of old, on account of my beginningless greed, hatred, and ignorance, born of my conduct, speech, and thought, I atone for it now. We'll do 3 moves before the meditation. Let's make it just one.
Oh, just one.
Okay.
I'm getting. Just as a reminder for anyone new this morning, the back rows will face the windows and then follow the front row out. And we'll start from the side of the room facing closest to the door. And if you want to sign up for Dyson, there's a list at the front of the room.
But don't do it on the way out. Right?
Do it on the way back.
Yeah, do it after, when you come back in, after the, you can do it then. When you come back in, everybody's like this, and the Chikado will hit the bell, everybody will sit. At that point, you can go up, sign up, and then come back to your seat before we start the next period.
Sutra on opening the Dharma. The Dharma, incomparably profound and infinitely subtle, is rarely encountered, even in millions of ages. Now we see it, hear it, receive and maintain it. May we completely realize the Tathagata's true meaning.
Kathy, can I have a bell? Let's just sit for a minute or two in silence.
just think for a second. See if you've noticed anything about yourself and the ringing of the bell. From the moment that Kathy handed me the bell until it rang, I'm not going to ask you to say anything about it, but just notice if that was a stimulus to immediately start thinking. And then when the bell rang, did you think about why is he ringing the bell? Think about the sound of the bell. Or experience it as you were hearing the bell. Or was there anybody who, for a split second or more, just heard the bell without naming it a bell, without thinking about who's hearing the bell? Just now I wrote a haiku for the occasion. A temple bell rings without a sound, mist on the lake. Temple bell rings without a sound, mist on the lake. So when the temple bell rings without a sound, that's original silence, which is what today's talk is about. So in Zen, silence is not silence as opposed to speech, as opposed to sound. It's a sound that's beyond any explanation or comparison. It's a silence before a word is spoken or a thought is created. It's a sound that can't be imagined. It must be experienced. And this is the place, this original silence is the place from which, if you are assigned a koan, this is where the answer, where the response comes from. Now, having said all that, it's ironic that I'm talking, I'm explaining. But when we talk about silence, it's like a finger pointing to the moon. The words are not what's being pointed to. Jakushu is a Chinese poet, and he wrote this brief poem. Sitting in the mountains, legs folded, sitting alone, not loathing noise, not savoring sound, the carefree clouds concur. The clouds are original silence. So if we practice Zen diligently, slowly over time, probably many of you have noticed this, the mind becomes still, and we enter a place that we name just being. Things as they are, without labels, without thoughts. That's an expression of original silence. No commentary. Now in this place of original silence. It's not flat or lifeless. This place, the sound of originals, the original sound, the original silence, that place, if you sit in that place, it's actually very dynamic. It's incredibly full of energy. So silence is not, again, the way we normally think about silence. This silence, which is the ringing of a bell without sound, that silence is very powerful. And that's the place that over time we sit from. So the experience is that we have left behind all questions and all answers. And this is another poem, brief poem by Yoka Genkaku. And he writes, I have entered the deep mountains to silence and beauty. In a profound valley beneath high cliffs, I sit under the old pine trees. Zazen is my rustic cottage. It is peaceful, lonely, and truly comfortable. I have entered the deep mountains to silence and beauty. In a profound valley beneath high cliffs, I sit under the old pine trees. Zazen is my rustic cottage. It's peaceful, lonely, and truly comfortable. I'll leave that without commentary. It's important to note that silence is not a trance or a state of passivity. It's when we are actually the most alive, most engaged, most connected to life. Vimalakirti described this dynamic state of being as thundering silence. Thundering silence. That's the energy of silence. That's the energy when the mind is silent, where the mind is not creating ideas, identities, stories. So silence is when we are undisturbed by thoughts, when we are at peace within ourselves. And if we embody silence, there will be no voice that distracts or deceives us into missing the inherent oneness of life. When we're silent, when we're silent, in silence, there is nothing to separate the universe. It's one. It's when the silence disappears and the mind starts, we create duality, we identify things in different ways, and we miss the connection between all things. Now, as I've said many times, this doesn't mean that we should live our lives not saying anything. We have to talk about or express this. And again, but that's the finger pointing at the moon. It's not the same as the original silence, that original place that we speak from. Now, Roshi Kennedy, for those of you who don't know, was my teacher, and I received Dharma transmission, the permission to teach from him. And this is from Roshi, well, let me go back. Roshi Kennedy once said in an interview with Tricycle magazine, and this is this quote, Zazen was the best way I found for being in the presence of truth, which is silence. It's not repeating things I already knew and read. In silence, I was able to learn something new. There's a famous 60s author, and he did some poetry with Jack Kerouac. You have to be the right age to know who he was, but this goes back, as I said, to the 60s. And he said, the sound of silence is all the instruction you'll get.
Morning and thanks.
And silence is not something that only exists when we sit, when we're on our cushion. It's a way of living our lives. It's a way of being intimate with whatever arises before a list of presumptions, preconditions, and prejudices appear in our mind. This last poem is from a book. It's a wonderful book. And the poetry is beautiful. And it's a compilation of poems by a Zen priest named Ryokan, a Zen poet named Ryokan. And he wrote, "Like a little stream making its way through the mossy crevices, I too quietly turn clear and transparent." That's a beautiful expression of original silence. Like a little stream making its way through the mossy crevices, I too quietly turn clear and transparent. Original silence. Now, each one of us is an expression of original silence. It's a silence before we tell stories, before we make up ideas. And it's our true nature. Original silence is our true nature. And we must devote ourselves to manifesting it. We are that silence. But the work is, the sitting is, to express that silence, to manifest that silence. And so in Zen we say that silence is the primary condition for our awakening. And a haiku by Basho, three lines by Basho, I'm not sure it would be called a haiku. But sitting silently, doing nothing, spring comes and the grass grows by itself. That's original silence. Spring comes and the grass grows by itself. That's things as they are. No stories. No layers put over the direct experience. So I will end with one more ring of a bell which there will not be a sound. Right? A sound is a label. Thank you. Kathy, will you? Thanks.
Was it right for the people to do that? Thanks.
Just put your hands in Gashro if you'd like to. We'll sit for a moment and we'll do the Heart Sutra. Prepare to chant the Heart Sutra.
That's yours. Thank you.
sattva, doing deep prajna paramita, clearly saw emptiness of all the five conditions, thus completely relieving misfortune and pain. Oshari Putra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form, form is exactly emptiness, emptiness exactly form, sensation, conception, discrimination, awareness are likewise like this. Oshari Putra, all dharmas are forms of emptiness, not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, without loss, without gain. So in emptiness there is no form, no sensation, conception, discrimination, awareness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no color, sound, smell, taste, touch, phenomena, no realm of sight, no realm of consciousness, no ignorance and no end to ignorance, no old age and death and no end to old age and death, no suffering, no cause of suffering, no extinguishing, no path, no wisdom, and no gain, and thus the Bodhisattva lives prajnaparamita with no hindrance in the mind, no hindrance, therefore no fear, far beyond deluded thoughts. This is nirvana. All past, present, and future Buddhas live prajnaparamita and therefore attain anuttara samyak sambodhi. Therefore no prajnaparamita is the great mantra, the vivid mantra, the best mantra, the unsurpassable mantra. It completely clears all pain. This is the truth, not a lie. So set forth the prajnaparamita mantra. Set forth this mantra and say gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhiswaha.
We'll prepare for practice circle. Carol, would you like to lead us today? No. Not today?
I'll start, but I do have to leave.
Oh, okay.
My son's arriving.
Colleen, can you do it? Okay. Colleen? Sure. Okay.
I'm going to close this door during practice circle.
Okay.
If nobody has any
It's also cold out there.
Isn't it?
Thank you, Kathy.
Move Sensei over here so that.
So the practice circle is an opportunity to speak about anything that has come into your heart from Sensei's talk. You don't have to say anything. What is said in here stays in here, and we do ask for no crosstalk. and we can introduce ourselves. I can start. Colleen.
Dan?
Nancy.
Adam. Court.
And on Zoom?
Wendy.
Jim and Wendy.
Wendy, yes, and Jim.
Kathy?
Brenda.
Jerry. Manny.
Also, the other thing is to speak up as loudly as we can because we all have different levels of perceptions.
Hearing, actually.
Hearing, yes, the original silence is not always welcome. Sorry, the original silence doesn't get offended, so.
Right.
The original silence speaks louder than words.
Thundering.
I'll start. So I remember hearing the first time about emptiness, which is probably connected in some way, and the quality of emptiness in people. And people say like Mother Teresa had a lot of emptiness or people like that, and just like when you're around the person, that person's emptiness is like this love that doesn't need to be saying in words, I love you, or I hear you, or you're welcome here. Or people like Sensei, for example. No matter what Sensei says, or even when Sensei doesn't say anything, at least for me, I feel a love that is just, it's just this thing that it isn't, is when you know that, and that like the part that we have, well, someone, me, I can speak for myself, we have a harder time getting in touch with. But that part is like, it feels like it's touched and it comes out, it's like, oh, I'm seeing, without necessarily the words. The words don't hurt, maybe they even help, but sometimes I feel like that's the sort of silence, the original silence that I just feel. Where people like Sensei, often it's people who are, you know, deep in Buddhism, and sometimes just encounter people just naturally like that, have never meditated in their lives. And it's just such a beautiful thing. So there's no point to it, but I just wanted to say
I love this talk this morning. So many things, and like the clear stream running through the moss, and that the idea of that being original silence. It's like in our practice, we're cultivating a type of quietude, right? Of a just being with what is arising in the moment, and then what are we adding to it as self? Like, so for emptiness, for me, it's like the moment is empty of everything until we add the self to it, right? And then what are we clinging to in that moment? Are we adding more suffering to that moment? Or can we just be with the pure experience of that, the quietude, the silence, which is thundering sometimes, right? It's a practice, it's a daily practice to touch into that space of just being, just seeing ourselves in, what they call our true nature, or, whatever that is. But yeah, for me lately, I've been adding a lot of vexation to what's going to happen, right? Because I have a lot of pressure from work and stress. So I'm seeing that very clearly, that whatever I'm adding to the moment can cause suffering for me. And so can I just let it go and be with what I can actually do right now? Be with what actually I can manage well, and be skillful. So.
I've heard Sensei Carl use the expression "things as they are," and I'm in
this sendo with you guys because I have a hard time with how things are. And I need to see that there's a way to be with things how they are. And by my own, when I meditate alone, I've practiced for 20 plus years, you know, I got to places where I got scared, and being in the community made it less scary for me. And the original silence, as I understood Sensei to be saying this, was me as a baby. Like me as, you know, leaving the dentist's office with no plaque on my teeth. And as you know, the original transmission that I had was from my parents, my mom and dad, who themselves had suffering and who couldn't really handle it well. And I learned that transmission from them, and I'm here to lighten the stain of that, to make it more easy to go where you know they got me to here, but I have to go further. I want to go more. I want to see more. I want to suffer less. I want to be less afraid with things as they are. Thanks.
I find it hard to keep the world out, especially now. There's so many things happening that are so deadly and awful that it's a relief to be able to meditate and breathe and keep some of that out. But I worry that the kind of places where Buddhism is practiced seriously are not democracies. They're not the kind of country I would like to live in. And I don't know how to, you know, I recognize what Sensei's talking about and I like it, but it's, each time I have sort of taken a deep breath and been okay, then something else comes up. I mean, I'm from Washington, D.C., and I have many friends in places at the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, which is such a sort of sacred institute. And Donald Trump is going after it the same way he went after the Kennedy Center, which is also, I don't know how to separate out. Maybe you all do, and you can tell me. Because I think the idea that Sensei's talk, it's felt restful, especially when he rang the bell, which I don't think of as a bell, it sounds like a chime to me. But when that bell rings, there's a feeling of just nice, empty, quiet. And then keeping the world out is hard.
I had a encounter with a friend this week, a very dear friend for over 60 years. We were childhood friends, but he's a misanthropic hater. People eat too much, they drive like shit, the Trumpers are devil. And we've talked about the meditation practice over the years, and he recently retired. And I sent him the morning gatha. He said, "What do you do?" And I told him the morning gatha. So I just saw him this week, and he said to me, "Thank you for that. I actually like it. I tweaked it," he said, "but I like it. But it's helping me." So here is his version. Waking up this morning, I smile. 24 brand new hours are before me. I vow to live fully present in every moment and look upon all beings with eyes of compassion, even the assholes. So maybe you can try that, Nancy.
Thank you.
Oh, all right.
Scary though, it's scary, I'm frightened.
Yeah. We co-create the world. The world, it's causes and conditions, right? So everything that is happening in this
What do you
moment,
mean by we?
everything that exists, all dharmas create the present moment.
Even the assholes.
Even the assholes.
They need compassion.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Even the asshole in me.
Even the asshole within me, yes.
How do we work skillfully with all that arises around us? It is difficult. Life is not easy. And we've been here before, right? History repeats. Like this moment has a echo. For me, it does. When I think about history, fascism has arisen before. So I don't know. I don't know the answer, but I know that I will resist it in my own way, in some way. Anyway.
I guess I'll double dip. I like to talk, I guess. None of it's relevant or not. I had this like sinus infection for a few weeks, and I was noticing it like a week ago or something like that. I had this very intense tooth pain, like just very like it was clearly pushing it out, whatever the pressure is. And the pain was very, very intense. And one of my practices has been with difficult emotions. I just like fear, anxiety, or just discomfort, whatever it is, just to be with it. First, there was trying to be with it to get rid of it. Obviously, it never works. It makes it worse because it's hard to trick yourself. You're always there. So then it's okay, accepting whatever the difficult emotion is and loving it, and in my mind, explicitly telling it, I love you. You're protecting me. You're welcome. You're always welcome. You can be there forever and always show up whenever you want to. And it works very well for me. I tried to do that with the tooth pain. I really, really tried. Pain, there's a very intense pain. I love you. You're always welcome to be here. You can come back whenever you want, and I'm going to welcome you and hug you and love you. It was so painful that someone, all right, fine, I'm going to do the naproxen thing, whatever. And I know sometimes it feels like that with a lot of things that try to love it and we don't know it. And then when we, at least for me, I accept that I'm not ready to love this intense tooth pain. And then at least that lets it subside somewhat. At least that second arrow of the frustration of not being able to love the pain away. So, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like that with people too.
You can love the capability to be aware of it.
I'd like to add one more thing as well. From different practice, I had learned about this meditation of mind like sky, I think it was called. And it was imagining things that pass over the sky, the clouds that pass, this cloud and that cloud. And that the sky was there. I mean, the sky was there, the cloud moved, the cloud came back, the sky stayed, and that as like a witness, when I'm sitting, all sorts of things are arising, as they say. And these things that are arising are sort of, when I know that they're arising, the reason I know that they're arising is because I have a memory of the sky. I have a knowing of something that's not this cloud. There's something that reminds me there's something besides being angry, there's something besides being scared. And that's building that voice, that coming back is, I think that's a lot of my practice here is getting, building the voice that says come back, that the voice that's talking about anger and fear and all that that's not me. The me is the part that says come back to the part that's watching that. And and I had this thing, I work with a therapist, and I shared this image with a therapist of being on the cushion and imagining like evaporation, like things coming off of me during sits, like things are shedding. I mean, that I'm like that they're evaporating, like these, unreal, false things. I don't know even what goes on in meditation. I mean, some of it is organizing, some of it is shedding. By organizing, I mean like it's still there, it's just put together different. I'll just share one last thing. The therapist I shared that with was telling me about graphite, and graphite is made of carbon. And he said, that's the world's softest substance. And he said, the diamond is the world's hardest substance, and that's also carbon. He said, the difference of them is the way that they're put together. Meditation practice has been that for me. It's like sort of like helping organize things in a way that it's more solid. Thanks for letting me share it.
I want to be a part of the conversation too, and so I'll speak up. I don't know exactly what I'm going to say. I noticed that I like being here. I noticed that I kept my eyes open this week. It was weird because I didn't want to stare like right at you. Because I was like, okay, let's move to the left a little bit, look at the carpet. But I got that from the book that was recommended, The 3 Pillars of Zen, so I practiced with that. It definitely worked differently with my eyes open than with them closed. I think there's part of me that likes, I don't smoke weed or do drugs or, anymore, but I partied, 27 years ago, when I was young. And there is a part of me that likes the dreaminess of the notion of closing my eyes and just being in here for a while, And I go back and forth between wanting a huge challenge from this. What if I am completely upright and totally present? My God, what is that going to bring to my consciousness? I don't know if I want to see everything. And I also like being in here because it's it's almost like I don't want to call it a drug, but it's like, it's something good. It's good to be in here. And it carries with me throughout the week. Last thing, I've got 2 office mates, where I work, and we're on a staff of writers. And so we're all in there, we're the 3 of us, and one guy likes to speak negatively about the job environment, and he likes to process externally, and I really need to use this notion of listening without judgment to someone who wants to process things negatively. And in his point of view, he says, there's nothing wrong with just saying how it is. And so right there, of course, I could get into a long philosophical dissertation with him about, are you sure that's the way it is, or is that the way you say it is? And don't you know that creates the way? He didn't sign up for my TED Talk or my course. I let it go. Sometimes I walk out because I just don't want to do all that, like building it negative down to the ground. I don't want to do that. So anyway, maybe I just did that.
The mind can be a troublemaker.
I'm Brenda. And I just want to talk about something that's come up for me here that really doesn't have anything to do with the practice, but it does probably have something to do with the fact that I've become relaxed and I have this new little ambition that I want to make real. So I just want to put it out there because I just don't know how it's going to happen. And I went to a story slam the other night and I enjoyed it very much. And I've had a fantasy about creating a presentation for the Moth, which is basically way out of my league, I think. And this seems smaller, but I still feel so frightened to do it. And so frightened that I'm not going to be able to create a good story. But I have an acting background, but I don't have a writing background. And I just wanted to say that because it's really something I want for myself, and I don't know how I'm going to make it happen.
know there's no crosstalk, but there's a little bit of crosstalk. But, and when Nancy was speaking about her struggle with kind of like leaving the outside world, right? Being, while also trying to find sort of that original silence, completely paraphrasing what you said, but it kind of like resonated in terms of my awareness of like my own personal struggles and the things that I'm kind of having to deal with, and then the things that I have to deal with in the different workspaces that I'm in, and then that in society, and recognizing that there are days where it feels like it is so overwhelming to just be in this existence. That being able to practice sitting, even if it's struggling, is enough silence to be able to regain some clarity and know that we can, in fact, let go of that which no longer serves us. And if I take enough time to do that, then by sitting, I'll eventually also know if and when I need to speak.
Well, there is some comfort in meditating. It's sort of like how your foot feels when you take off a tight shoe. There's that sense of, but it's hard for me to not stumble into all kinds of other things. Mostly it's about what I'm going to make for dinner, but other things as well get in the way. And it has been like that for the last 25 years that I've been meditating. I don't get any better, but I'm still here.
That gives me hope. Just occurred to me how sweet this is. I mean, there's all these different representations of life. Everybody is unique, but we can all come together like this and connect. It's really beautiful.
It's funny, and forgive me, because I didn't bring my watch, so you'll give me the signal. How are we?
It's 11:32.
I'll just say one last quick thing, because I too was thinking, sometimes when I'm trying to meditate and I'm caught up in the shopping list, I say to myself, I wonder if just sitting here through osmosis will help me. Just keep coming back to just get on the cushion. And maybe as today I was thinking, so that my husband's birthday, I gotta go home and do that. I kept saying, but you're here, and that's what I hope, that it will just seep in.
Right.
Anyone else? One final thing?
Okay, we'll get a final bow. Organize the room.
So are there any announcements coming?
So just to let everybody know, on April 27th, after following our regular meditation, will be the poetry group.
Big circle.
Thank you all.
Thanks,
Yeah, guys.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Brenda, my dream is also do something on the lawn.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, it's a little bit more low key at the Montclair Cinema 555,
Oh,
FYI. They have a class in it and we can.
oh, yeah.
I just mentioned the second phase, onto the next one this week, and it's